Alright, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to my video for a prototype of something I'm working on. I'll show you what it is, and then I'll just talk a little bit about it, and yeah, I guess here it is. Alright, so what that was is my prototype for a essentially kind of live modular MIDI MIDI controllable music game. I don't really want to make it a game so much as it is just like a way to make projects and music videos out of this. And if any of you know what this is, I'll put the name of the videos in the description, because I don't know if I can like get copyright struck. Even like I said, I don't even know what this YouTube ecosystem is anymore. So even though I watch tons of it, I just play it so safe. So I will put the name of the videos in the description. And so this is the first kind of inspiration. It's called Animusic, like animation but Animusic, and they do a lot of different things that were the videos were popular like 2008, kind of like mid to late 2000s, and I grew up watching those. And what was very interesting about them is they were real songs and real recordings and stuff, but the music videos were like these conceptual instruments, like giant. One was like a giant wooden kind of weird thing with like different like instrument necks coming off it. So it was like a bass neck and a guitar and a like electric bass and violin and like maybe like a really wide like sitar or like a lute, and like different necks and different things coming off, and harp. And it was just this giant and it played itself. Like it had little fingers and bows and stuff that was connected to it that like played itself. Like it was physically impossible to make something like that. I mean, maybe we could with like robots and string and stuff now, right? I mean, maybe not. I don't know. But the point was that it was like it was insane because it sounded great and it looked great, because it was just so fantastically impossible. And they did other ones with like marble machines, and I'll make a reference about the marble machine later. But they did another one with marble machines where it'd shoot out the marbles and it would hit the drums and hit whatever notes or strings it was trying to hit, and then it would bounce off and go back into a different tunnel or funnel. And I think that those two videos were called Pipe Dreams. But it was very interesting, and so it was a big inspiration. I was like, well, what if I can replicate this in Unreal Engine? You know, just using physics and stuff, like, because I'm sure those were like actually hand animated, and they could have been using physics, but I don't know. I just have a feeling that I have this weird feeling that the people who made them made the animation harder on themselves than it had to be. But then again, it was 2008, and I don't know what animation was like in 2008, right? I didn't have experience with that software or technology back then, so I don't know. But nonetheless, it was very cool, and I wanted to replicate that. And so I just did this with a simple concept of 3 drum pieces. You know, a hi-hat, a snare, and a bass. Now, please do take this with a grain of salt. And I'm about to get a little music nerdy here. But there are reasons, if you don't know too much about music or sound production or sound design, or music production, any of that stuff, you may already know why this doesn't sound great, aside from the fact that it's drum samples. So if you're not into music stuff, you can skip ahead or just click out now, whatever. But if you'd like to learn, pretty much one of the main reasons this doesn't sound good is velocity. And this is all MIDI. This is a MIDI track, and I'm drawing a blank at what MIDI means. So, but essentially it's just digital notes. It's like code for music, essentially. And so MIDI has more data values than just what the note is. It also has how long the note is, the velocity of the note, which is what we're going to be focusing on, and some other values as well. But velocity is essentially, it's not quite how hard. It's also not quite how loud. There's a few things. It's all of that and some other stuff. But the best way I can kind of illustrate it is if you hit a snare drum as hard as you could, it's going to be really loud and very, very sharp if it's a properly tuned snare drum, but it's going to be very loud, right? And that would be like, you say, if you had the velocity like 200 or something, right? But if you hit it very softly, you might get a little bounce, a little slider rattle, and it's going to still sound like a snare drum, but it's not that it's just quieter. There's different sound properties that it physically has, and it's producing a much different sound than just, it's quieter or louder, than compared to when you hit it really loud. And that would be like if the velocity was at 50. Well, being that we're not actually using MIDI programs, we're using MIDI notes to trigger all of what we're happening, but we're not actually using MIDI to play the sounds or any VSTs, any of that, to actually produce the sounds. I'm just triggering samples, right? I can't really modify velocity in the same way that you can with the expensive MIDI programs and sampling synth and or VSTs that are out there for high-end music design. Now, granted, these samples are from just like a Easy Drum, which is actually a really good program, Easy Drummer 2. But and I can't remember what kit I'm using. I can't remember. Anyways. Essentially, I'm going to, the only way I can really replicate the nuance and subtlety of a real player is just by modifying these volume values, where if it was a real MIDI, it's going to sound a little bit better, but it's still going to sound weird because the time aligning, it's too perfect. It's perfectly aligned. It's not imperfect, because all humans are imperfect in their playing, and of course everything they do, but that's what makes music. No one's perfect, and when music is perfect, it genuinely kind of just sounds a little off and sounds weird. So because of that is one reason. Those are like the two reasons: is the imperfection in the perfection rather in the timing, and the consistency in volume. There's no subtlety or any of that in the volume and level and velocity of the hits on the various pieces of this like 3-piece drum kit, right? So that's why it's going to sound weird, and I think there's also some timing issues, but I'm just working this out. This is a concept, right? So don't judge the sound rather than it is, or where it's at now, because that'll evolve and I'll make that better, hopefully. But the other big inspiration for this that some of you may know more, if you're into music and whatnot, would maybe be Vintegatten. And he's a musician. He's got like a band, but the most of you may know him from I want to say it was 2015 or something. He came out with a video called The Marble Machine, and he was in the room with the big wooden machine. It was a white room, right? And the whole video was him. He was cranking the wheel and he was playing the machine. He had the bass, and the marbles would drop and play the tone, and there's all the different percussive instruments and stuff that he had compacted into that machine. And so there's a lot of that inspiration coming into here, and I think he also maybe had some inspiration from Animusic, and maybe not. He's actually never spoken about that, but a lot of that inspiration comes from there because I've got the marbles going, and obviously it doesn't look good. I mean, the collision is just being disabled and they're just falling through, so it sounds bad and it looks bad. This is a concept. I didn't want to spend tons of time making it look really good and sound really good, and then playing it and coming to find out that this isn't feasible or whatever, or it would be too difficult. So that's why this is so simple and is just very, very rough draft. So if you guys are interested in any of the things I talked about, the Vintegatten, he talks about making his new marble machine and the music he makes every Wednesday. It's really cool because he goes into like the engineering of it and he's building. It's a pretty cool series if it's something you're interested in, but you can also just see the inspiration where I'm coming from. Also Animusic. Just the name of it will be in the description. So yeah, if you guys will have input or like what you see here, you can hit the like button, comment, or you can join my Discord channel, or Discord server rather, for top link in the description. I don't just do stuff like this. If you're new here, I do have a tutorial series that is soon to be coming out. It'll be, I think, the 4th one or 5th one, geez. And you can subscribe to my channel to be watching out for updates and or just that actual series, because I don't know what's coming next. Probably updates. I'm going to be honest with you guys. The series isn't as close as I'd liked it to be, and I'm also heading out of town this week, so that's a bit more delays there. So either way, if you are looking for fundamentals of how to make an FPS game and just the fundamentals of UE4 as a whole, definitely subscribe, and that series will hopefully help you guys out in whatever adventures you're trying to accomplish in Unreal Engine, or your just game development knowledge in general. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you guys were interested in this. I'll probably be uploading some updates on this too, and see where I get with this, and maybe some other just demos, not really me talking, just like demoing a song or a bit longer of content with maybe some other instruments. We'll see how it goes, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.